Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Wednesday, November 25th. I have your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you for choosing to be here to get filled in on what is impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. We start off today with a quick update from the Ohio Department of Health. Governor Mike DeWine and Health Director Stephanie McCloud have named Jamie Carmichael as the new Chief Health Opportunity Advisor. This position will work closely with the Health Department to further the COVID-19 Minority Health Strike Force's findings and goals. Now, this position of Chief Health Opportunity Advisor was created after that strike force confirmed that there is a disproportionate impact on the way COVID-19 is impacting a minority and underserved communities here in Ohio. The goal is to address that along with broader health disparities and racial injustices that affect care in our health systems. Carmichael is a veteran of the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, and before that she worked with the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services for close to 10 years, working on changing policies to benefit minorities here in Ohio. Now we have an update from the Ohio Department of Health on the COVID-19 numbers today, and we are seeing two numbers that are incredibly high. One record number. First, the record number of deaths is now at 156 deaths reported in the last 24 hours. This is the first time we've seen the deaths over 100. Yesterday, we saw 98 new reported deaths in the last 24 hours, and that was a record. So that record is now at 156. Now, today, we are reporting 10,835 new COVID-19 cases. Now, remember yesterday, Governor Mike DeWine said that there is still a backlog of about 6,000 COVID-19 cases that still need to be confirmed because of technical issues at 2 major reporting labs here in Ohio. So we don't know how that 6,000 number figures into that 10,835, but what we do know is that the number of cases that we've been reporting every day has been incredibly high, no matter what percentage of that 6,000 folds in to that 10,835, if any at all, which we don't know because we haven't heard from Governor Mike DeWine today because he had his press conference yesterday. We also know, based on the latest data, which is from 2 days ago, that our 7-day average positive rate for COVID-19 tests is at 14.2%, and the last daily rate was at 13.5%. Governor DeWine did say yesterday that based on our Ohio travel advisory, we ask people that are coming to the state of Ohio to quarantine for 14 days if they're coming from a state that has a 15% positive rate, and we are creeping up and up towards that number. There have also been 417 new hospitalizations in the last 24 hours. DeWine also said during his press conference earlier this week on Monday and with medical professionals that the number of new hospital admissions is outpacing the number of people being discharged when it comes to treating COVID-19, and that is definitely not a situation that we want to be in. Right now, there are 4,541 people who are hospitalized with COVID-19. That's about 30% of all the people who are hospitalized in the state of Ohio. So about 3 in 10 of everyone hospitalized in the state of Ohio is being treated for COVID-19. 1,077 of those people are being treated in an ICU unit. So that's about 1/4 of the people being treated for COVID need care in an intensive care unit. Right now, our hospital beds that are available throughout the state, that's at about 27%. About 73% of our hospital beds are being used right now by someone who needs inpatient care throughout the state of Ohio. Let's take a look at the national and the global COVID-19 numbers now. We are seeing milestones both at the national and the global level today. These are coming from Johns Hopkins University. In the U.S., we have now breached 260,000 deaths. That number is 260,993 as of this afternoon, according to Johns Hopkins University. Globally, the number of deaths is at 1,416,176. And with 4% of the global population, the U.S. accounts for 18.4% of the global deaths. Taking a look at the number of cases, globally, we are now at over 60 million cases. That number is 60,106,099. And here in the U.S., we have 12,667,063 reported cases of COVID-19. Our percentage of the global cases is creeping up. We are now at 21.1% of the global cases, again, with 4% of the population. So these numbers, definitely not the direction we want to be going in. Keep that in mind as you are celebrating your holiday. That's what the medical experts are asking us to do this weekend, looking into Thanksgiving. The Cleveland Browns had to shut down their practice facility again today because they've had another player test positive for COVID-19. This is again, the Browns were informed of the positive result early this morning and then said that all meetings would be taking place remotely for the time being in accordance with NFL protocols. They did not give any indication of who that player might be at this time, but they did release, again, the exact same statement they have been releasing. The team will continue to consult with the league and medical experts on the appropriate next steps as the health and safety of our players, coaches, staff, and the entire community remains our highest priority. Again, this is the multiple time in the past several weeks we've seen the statement from the Cleveland Browns as they continue to have players test positive for COVID-19. Right now, the Browns currently have 4 players on the COVID reserve list. Now, 3 of them are presumed to have tested positive for COVID-19 based on the announcement that a player had tested positive and then a player almost immediately being placed on the COVID list. Those players include defensive end Myles Garrett, offensive lineman Chris Hubbard, and fullback Andy Janovich. Defensive end Joan Jackson is also on the list, but we don't know if he actually has tested positive for COVID-19 because the Browns did not announce that a player had tested positive at the time that Joe Jackson was put on the COVID list. We already know at this point that Myles Garrett has been ruled out for this Sunday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which could impact his run for NFL Defensive Player of the Year, but that is based on the NFL protocol, based on the day that he began exhibiting symptoms and his positive test date. So there are strict rules in place, and the Browns are following those rules. And the Browns will take on the Jaguars without Garrett on Sunday. That'll be in Florida at 1 p.m. Now, if you were looking forward to watching football on Thanksgiving, as of right now, you'll still be able to do it, but we won't be able to watch that AFC North battle between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens on Thanksgiving Day because that has been moved to Sunday. We don't know the game time or the broadcast network yet. That will be announced later today, but the game has been postponed because 4 Ravens players have tested or come in close contact with someone who tested positive, meaning they were placed on the COVID-19 reserve list following their game on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. So if you are hoping to watch football on Thanksgiving, which is tomorrow, you can still watch the Houston Texans take on the Detroit Lions. That'll be at 12:30 Eastern. And you can watch the Washington football team take on the Dallas Cowboys. That'll be at 4:30 Eastern. Speaking of Thanksgiving, there have been a lot of bright spots here in 2020, but you might be having a tough time getting yourself into a place of gratitude and a feeling of thankfulness. So if so, we've put together a gratitude podcast list that's up on WKYC.com. This is in the spirit of paying it forward, which is the topic on my podcast this week, 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney, where I have guest Random Acts of Kindness Everywhere founder Ricky Smith talk to me about paying it forward even when times are tough. So we've put together this list of podcasts to help you get in a thankful frame of mind. A couple of those podcasts include Happier with Gretchen Rubin, an episode called A Little Happier. If you have a fur coat, you don't need snow pants. Another podcast called The Good Life Project. This is an interview with Elizabeth Gilbert, who, if you are not familiar, she wrote the 2006 memoir Eat, Pray, Love. It's sold over 12 million copies. It was turned into a movie. The book's been translated into 30 languages. That is in their best of podcasts selection. And also Daily Boost. And this podcast is called How to Make Sure You Are Living with Gratitude. And there's a ton more in that article, so check that out. That's on WKYC.com. That's also linked in the WKYC Instagram story right now. And speaking of Thanksgiving and getting past the holiday, we do have a local holiday shopping guide up. That's from our 3 News contributor, Laura DeMarco. She's actually my guest on this weekend's episode of 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney. So she talks about supporting small businesses and giving gifts that people love while also staying COVID safe. Here's a couple examples. Vinyl is particularly hot right now, so she talks about a couple of the local record stores that are employing distancing precautions and also safety measures, so you can browse in there. 2 of them include Blue Arrow Records, that's on Waterloo Road, and the new vinyl shop called Current Year Retro. That's on Ridge Road, and it's right by Rudy's Strudel. It's actually in the same building, so you can check out some vinyl and get yourself some strudel at the same time. Another option, the Cleveland Holiday Handmade Online Market. So this is a combination of the region's top maker marts. They've come together for a unique holiday event that is this weekend. They're having a live event on their site on Friday and Small Business Saturday. That is shopholidayhandmade.com. And here's one more for you. Cleveland Independence Card. This is a gift card that's good at more than 80 bars and restaurants in the area. You can get it in $25, $50, or $100 increments. And Laura had some great tips for how you can really personalize this gift card. She talks about with me on the podcast. That drops on Saturday morning. So make sure you listen to the podcast to get that. Again, that's 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney, and you can subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. It's everywhere you would want it to be. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, it's there. That's it for 3 News Now for Wednesday, November 25th. I'll be out for the next 2 days, so I won't see you here on Thursday and Friday, but I will have that 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney podcast coming out on Saturday morning, so you can catch that. It's all about shopping small, why to do it and how to do it here in Northeast Ohio. And I will see you tonight on What's New with your trending stories in Clicking in Cleveland, where we'll be wishing Bernie Kosar a happy 57th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Bernie Kosar. Everyone stay safe, be well. I appreciate you. I'm very thankful for you. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'll see you back here on Monday.